8 facts, 8 very different worlds, and each one has a turn you would not expect. From film production and books to opera, chess, and sport, here are the details that make them memorable. A romance film in Beijing needed an embassy chef on set, because the production had to get the food and cultural details right. Assalamualaikum Beijing is a 2014 Indonesian romance about a young woman who arrives in China after her engagement falls apart. As the crew filmed scenes about Muslim life in China, they needed local support to handle meals and customs without breaking the story's realism. The embassy chef helped shape what the cast ate and how those moments looked, so the Beijing scenes could feel lived in instead of staged. That support shows how a film about love can still depend on practical local decisions, from a meal on set to the final scene of a travelogue. An Indonesian debut novel beat Harry Potter in One Magazine's 2005 favorite book choice. The book was Ayat-Ayat Cinta, the first novel by Habibur el-Shirazi, an Indonesian writer and dai who had studied Islamic texts in Cairo. After returning to Indonesia in 2002 and recovering from a motorcycle accident, he wrote the novel, and its emotional story quickly found a wide local audience. The book became a commercial success and was soon adapted into a film, giving a homegrown title rare visibility beside a global bestseller. Its success also helped fund his dakwah, or religious outreach, showing how one local story could support both publishing and public teaching, and the magazine's choice became a small but telling decision. Raynell Krauss sang Mozart's Queen of the Night aria while hanging upside down in aerial silks. She was both an opera singer and an aerialist, and the aria was one of Mozart's hardest because it demands fast runs and very high notes. The turn came when she combined coloratura soprano technique with aerial silks, so the voice had to stay precise while the body stayed inverted. That made the performance a physical feat. Breath, balance, and pitch all had to work at once under stage lights. Raynell's act showed that opera can change when it meets another discipline, and the result can be as much about control as sound. In that kind of staging, one difficult aria becomes a test of the whole body, not just the voice, and the rule is simple: every note has to hold. Their first exclusive duo album arrived only after about 40 years of shared work. Keith Rowe and John Tilbury had already crossed paths through the same experimental music world for decades. Then, on January 7, 2003, they recorded Duos for Doris as a dedicated studio collaboration. The album came out on April 29, 2003 through Erstwhile Records, with 3 long tracks and strong reviews. It was also dedicated to Doris, Tilbury's mother, who died just days before the session, giving the record a quiet human weight that listeners still notice in the music and the dedication. The finale script was finished in 2 days, and that deadline helped shape how Haibanranmei ended. Haibanranmei was a 13-episode Japanese TV anime from 2002, adapted from Yasutoshi Abe's unfinished doujinshi manga, so the team was working from a story that was still open-ended. When the anime reached its last stretch, the screenwriter had only 2 days to complete the finale script, turning the ending into a race against the production schedule. That pressure meant the ending had to be locked fast, so the final shape of the story was guided as much by time as by ideas. That is why the finale feels like a record of production limits as much as a story choice, and the script itself becomes the clearest trace of that decision. Flamboyant means 2 things here: a Gothic style of stonework, and a word Dorian Electra turns into self-definition. Electra, an American singer and songwriter, built a debut album around queer aesthetics, experimental pop, and a style that refuses to blend in. In Gothic architecture, flamboyant describes ornate lines that seem to flicker like flame, so the title points to decoration before it points to identity. At the same time, the word also reclaims an old insult once aimed at gay men, and places it under the artist's control. That double meaning matches the album's larger idea: style can be decorative, personal, and political at once, and the title leaves the choice in plain sight. At the 1988-1989 Chess World Cup, chess became a live stage show. People physically acted out the pieces while Karpov and Timman played. The event paired a serious tournament game with theater, so the board was no longer the only thing people watched. The turn came when the pieces were turned into performers, making each move visible as a body crossing the stage. That created an immediate spectacle. Spectators could follow the match as both strategy and live action at once. The lasting point was simple: chess could be presented as a public performance without losing its competitive core, and that idea left a clear decision about how the game could be staged. A truck driver stepped away from the road to play flag football for the United States. Jadian Hai was working as a truck driver, a job built around long hours, tight schedules, and time on the move. Then he took time off, and that break opened the door to represent the country in flag football. The immediate result was simple. One ordinary work shift gave way to a national team opportunity. His path shows that elite sport can sit beside everyday work, and that a single decision can connect a driving job to a national team roster, leaving one practical choice behind it. Which fact surprised you most? If you enjoyed these quick factual turns, subscribe for more and leave a comment with the one you want explained next.